call them the Knightline. This group of talented drummers is very popular within the walls of Prospect High School. For years, they've been a hit attraction at pep assemblies and football games, and the fans cannot get enough of them.
It's very loud. I like loud music, you know.
They always pump me up.
The drumline here at Prospect is pretty awesome.
It's good stuff. I like it. Keep it going.
That's pretty much the only reason I come to the football games.
But there is much more to this drumline than simply what they are known for at football games. Numerous hours of practice time go into making this incredible drumline what they are. For nearly 7 months of the year, these kids are preparing for the season ahead of them, but many people have no idea how much time and effort is spent on making the Knightline the best they can be. This is their story. Marching band season generally ends around November with the closing of the football season, but that does not stop any progression for the next year's drumline. Only about a month or so after the season ends, practices begin to shape up the next season's kids. New music is given out and everyone must learn and perfect it in order to have a good audition in the spring.
There are 3 positions on the drum line: snares, tenors, and bass drums. And the snares are the 1 drum in the middle, tenors are the 6,
4 to 6 drums.
and the bass drums are the
Big guys.
The big guys. You know, there's different technique for each.
Each year, the Knightline is privileged enough to be taught by some of the most skilled instructors in the country. The 2 men in charge are Brett Kuhn and Dave Schmuck. Brett became a member of the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps in 1981, and he began teaching the Cavaliers in 1984, serving as the caption head as well as the percussion arranger for the world champion Cavaliers until 2005. He also writes and arranges music for groups worldwide, ranging from the US to Japan and Europe. Brett has been a Yamaha artist since 1989 and has worked with the innovative percussion to design 2 sets of his own signature drumsticks. Dave is an alumni of the University of Illinois Drumline, and he has played with the award-winning Cavaliers in 1998 and 1999. Dave is also in charge of the Chicago Bears Drum Corps, where he plays with many others who have also helped teach at Prospect. Dave and Brett are the ones in charge of auditions.
Basically, you come in, it's just a big camp, and then they pull you aside one by one and kind of hear you play the exercises and whatnot by yourself, and that's how they decide the snares and tenors.
Exercises are short pieces of music written to help increase certain drumming techniques and skills. They incorporate a variety of different styles in order to help the drummers improve their playing abilities.
Things that we kind of look for, we want to make sure that students are playing relaxed with good, strong sound quality, correct stick heights. That's very important in an activity like this where you have, 20 kids playing the exact same thing. It all has to look the same too. So stick heights determine volume and dynamics. We look for tempo and mark time. Now when you mark time, that's where you march in place. One big thing about marching band is that your feet are a big part of what you do. So you have to understand as a percussionist how the feet glue to the hands. So we look for good feet, and then we look for preparedness in music.
The exercises are also the audition music, and they are played as a warm-up at every practice, game, or competition.
Usually you have 20 guys going for 4 spots, and if you make it, you know you're actually good.
So you got to know what you're trying out for, so you can practice specifically that, because each exercise is different for each instrument. So you have to be prepared.
It's kind of intimidating the first time you go in there just because you've never auditioned for anything before in your life.
Because there are only a few new positions available on the line each year, the competition to fill those spots becomes very tough.
It's always real interesting because you always get the incoming freshmen who may have seen the group before and probably have, but have never been involved with the group, so they have no idea what they're getting into.
It's fun watching all of them try and figure out what spots they want to go to and everything like that, because then you just see them improve so much, and it's actually pretty fun to see that.
They probably do the quickest improving out of all the kids that come in because since they are so wet behind the ears, we start going and they pick up on everything. They've got a lot of stuff to learn. So they improve probably the fastest.
Because there are only a few limited amount of spots each year, I think that makes the people that are auditioning practice extra hard because they don't want to see those spots be taken out by someone better than them.
We like to see good steady improvement. So if you just played a snare instrument one year, if you don't do your homework and coast and think you're going to make it the next year, that's not always going to be the case, because maybe the entire level of the group has risen, and if you don't do your homework, very possibly you might not make that instrument again. So just because you're a veteran in that spot doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be there next year.
Most people know what they're going for, and then if they don't make that, they've got to settle for bass.
Generally, snares and tenors are the most wanted positions on the drum line. I think the reason that the snares and tenors are the most tried for drum in the drum line is because, whenever anybody talks about the drum line, the first thing that comes to people's minds are basically the snares or the tenors, because they're the most watched, they're the most looked at, they're the most popular. However, kids who have been cut from those drums have found bass to be just as fun to play.
The sweet part about bass is they're always the beat, like they're always the soul of it, and they always have a nice little groove going that everybody dances along to.
I love bass because bass you get your own individual part. Snares and tenors, they play a whole part together. When bass you have your part.
There are 5 bass drums on the drum line, all with a different pitch and sound. Throughout the music, each individual bass drummer must count and play only a few specific notes at a very precise time in order to achieve a smooth flowing sound. Members do not always make the drum that they audition for. However, no one has really ever been disappointed after making any spot in the Knightline.
It's an honor. It's a privilege.
Been thinking about it for the last 2 years before I made it.
It was probably the best feeling that I've ever had in my life so far, because I had worked so hard. I worked probably 3 or 4 days a week for 3 to 4 hours a day practicing, and it's just a really good feeling knowing that all the practice paid off.
Many kids try out every spring for a spot on the Knightline the next year, but competition is very tough. Usually there are only a couple openings from the seniors that will be leaving. It is a devoted process of practicing and preparation, but for those who get it done and make it, they look forward to the long, exciting summer ahead of them.